Kevin, thanks for the chat, and I'm sorry that you have to put up with Jeremy tonight. Okay, guys, we're going to get started, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's presentation. This is Wrestling Competition Considerations, an overview and information for Iowa High School wrestling coaches, or excuse me, for Iowa High School wrestling officials. We just finished a similar presentation to the wrestling coaches and athletic directors. A lot of what you're going to see tonight is on our website. That we will have that website at the end of the presentation for you to jot down, or you probably know where it is. You should know where it is anyway. It will be under the page that says COVID-19 resources. This video will be recorded and posted on our website. Also, we'll have the question and answers. So what I want you to do tonight as an official, if you have a question, there is a Q&A section at the bottom of the screen, and you can just click on it, and it'll ask you to type in your question. Tom Keating is going to be joining us, I believe, and if he's not, that's fine. I'll get to the questions later. We will review those, and I will actually type those up and also have those available on our website, as well as this recording for officials to go back and look at, or for officials who weren't able to attend tonight to be able to look at their convenience. A couple quick things that I want to point out. I will be sending out a letter, or excuse me, an email. I've already sent an email indicating that we are conducting our officials clinics this year virtually instead of in person. And I've got 4 dates for those. They start next week, October 27th in the evening at 7 o'clock, October 29th at 8 a.m. in the morning, November 2nd at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and November 4th at 7:30 at night. And those will be the 4 times and dates that we will have the officials clinic. So hopefully you can attend one of those clinics and get credit for that, as those are right around the corner. The rules meeting and exam go live on Monday, the 26th. So start preparing for that and getting ready to do that. The rules meeting is what you'll want to watch first, of course, followed by the taking the exam as you've studied and looked over rule changes and that sort of thing as well. Okay, so with regard to what we're doing tonight, I'm going to share my screen and get on with these proceedings. Okay, the return to wrestling competition considerations, overview and information for Iowa High School wrestling officials. So for officials, most of these things are going to be things that we recommend or that we want you to consider. Some of them are just things you should quite frankly be doing to keep yourself safe and to help those around you. So we have masks. We strongly suggest that you wear them upon arrival and when you're departing or moving around the facility. Some schools require them. Hopefully the officials will be included in pre-meet correspondence from athletic directors with regard to whether or not their school requires their visitors to wear masks as they arrive. But just, I think for safety's sake, plan on having a mask with you at the very least, and then wearing it as you come in and depart. You should bring hand sanitizer for yourself and use it frequently during the competition. Wash your hands when you get the chance. And just make a habit of that. Do it frequently and be a good role model for that as well. Don't share equipment. I don't know that anybody really does, but it's a good thing to definitely not be doing this year. And obviously with your whistles, you're going to probably want a couple of them throughout the day anyway, but find ways to clean them and disinfect them when you're done. If you want to consider using an electronic whistle, you certainly can. I've heard things about them that they're just not quite loud enough. I also think it'd be kind of hard to signal while you're trying to use the electronic whistle, but if you feel like that is a safety option that you want to use, you sure can. Follow social distancing guidelines. Keep 6 feet away from people when you're talking to them. That would include the players or the athletes, coaches, other officials. Just be aware of that, and keep in mind there's a lot of people watching, and we want you to lead the way in showing people what this should look like. When they have pre-meet ceremonies or post-meet ceremonies, we don't want you to be involved in shaking hands. The coaches have been instructed to teach their wrestlers not to come out and try to shake the official's hand or anything like that. We just don't need to. When the matches are over, we're going to ask that you indicate the winner by, raising your hand of red or green. So this is the winner. You don't have to grab the arm of the wrestler and raise it. We're telling the coaches the same thing. And so let's all get in the habit of doing that this year, and just indicating the winner by, showing the wristband color of the correct winner. And then cover that procedure when you talk about it in your pre-meets for duels, tournaments. Maybe you don't get that chance as much. You might be able to indicate it maybe if you get a chance at the weigh-ins or something like that. So really trying to avoid contact throughout the match, unless absolutely necessary. One of the places where you might have a little change is on the neutral starts as well. And this can be maintained or modified to maintain social distancing. So again, you might talk about this in your pre-meet, but if you decide, I'm not going to stick my head down in there, or, a lot of times guys will put their hands down in there to just kind of keep the kids away from each other. Develop your own way to do this. My suggestion is just, if you want to stay away from them, just make sure you tell them that that's what you're going to be doing. As you're away, just say, "Wrestlers, stay set," and then blow the whistle give them some kind of indication that you're getting ready to blow the whistle. And then that will get them set. Don't let them roll into a start. You've got to be aware of that. And that's why it's important for you to pre-meet that and let them know that you're going to be doing that ahead of time. If you've got officials that are off the mat, you're encouraged to wear masks at that time. If you want to wear a mask while officiating, you certainly can. I've seen pictures of guys who are working out there already, and they've got face shields, the clear plastic face shields. If you want to wear one of those, you are more than welcome to. Not going to discourage that at all. Totally up to you on that. If you do want to wear disposable gloves, that's fine, but keep in mind if you're in there and getting your hands on anybody, then you need to change those out, when those next people come in. So there will be some swapping out of gloves a lot if you want to do that. But again, not going to discourage it. It's just a personal preference on that for you. You need to communicate with the host administration prior to you arriving and talk to them about, will there be a place for dressing facilities? If you're somebody who, I get off work at a certain time and I've got to bust it to get to that weigh-in or to the facility, and I'm going to have to change once I get there, just verify that you're going to have a spot. If you get the opportunity to be dressed and arrive already dressed because maybe that's going to be an issue, then that's fine as well. Just try to square that up with the athletic director beforehand. Talk to the ADs about what their weigh-in procedures are going to kind of look like and how you might be able to help expedite that and eliminate any kind of confusion. I've told the ADs about the rule with the kids weighing in with a legal singlet or a legal uniform on and undergarments. And so in doing that, there's a possibility that they could, maybe weigh in the gym or weigh in the wrestling room versus weighing in a locker room. They might have the possibility of having an extra scale or two to try to make it go quicker. So just keep all those things in mind. One thing that came up was the skin check and whether or not you'd be, needing to, get close to them or touch them or fingernail checks, stuff like that. And I said, as much as we can, we're going to eliminate that hands-on practice. So you can look at their fingernails and should be able to see if they're too long. And certainly to skin check them, you don't really need to put your hands on them, but you will be doing the skin check with the legal uniform on. They don't take their straps down, nothing like that. And so the weigh-ins will be with both genders, girls and boys will be weighing in at the same time, and you'll do skin checks with the uniform on. And again, like I said, not really a need to have to touch them, hopefully, at that time. And then this last little piece here for officials is really, if an official or if a coach wants to talk to you at the table, we've told them you keep 6 feet away. We'd prefer that they have a mask on when they come over there. If you want to put a mask on, you're carrying one in your back pocket or something, and you want to put it on in order to go over and talk, that's fine. We have said keep 6 feet apart and respect each other's space. You know, and I said to the coaches, not every coach is going to hear this, but if they listen to it on our recording, they will. I said, you know, that we need to do a better job about how we communicate with each other, and it doesn't need to be you know, loud and obnoxious. That needs to go, you know, in both directions, obviously, but it can be something that they work on, hopefully, and respect you accordingly. Before we get too far along here, this next few slides are things that maybe don't pertain to you as much as officials, but you can read through them. We did talk about in dual meets a lot of times before they start, they'll introduce introduce the wrestlers. Now, we encourage them to not do that, but I'm sure some places will still want to do that. We encourage them then to not have them come out in the middle of the mat and shake hands. They can, if they still want to introduce, you know, all the 106 pounders or whatever, they can do that, but they can just stay, you know, on the edge of the mat or whatever. Hopefully some of them will choose to just eliminate that and just get on to wrestling. It would probably save 10 minutes on the night anyway. So these are some of the dual meet considerations. There, again, not a whole lot for you to worry about on this. These were really more designed for the coaches and athletic directors. But it wouldn't hurt you to read through it and kind of see what we're telling them. The tournaments on the next page. Again, a lot of considerations, a lot of things for them to think about, not necessarily that they will, you know, pertain to you, I guess. They're really more for the coach and the AD. We're encouraging spectators, you know, to social distance, wear masks where required or where possible. Obviously there might be some spectator attendance limitations. That'll be up to those will all be things that are left up to the local school as far as how they handle that and what they do. And hopefully that the spectators will, you know, maintain a thankful and respectful disposition towards the athletes and the coaches and you as officials, the school personnel who are really, you know, going above and beyond at this time to try to get this to happen. It's not going to be easy, and hopefully the spectators are good about, you know, just being respectful of the people that are there. Again, this is something really for the schools. It really doesn't have anything to do with the officials, but cheerleaders, just some considerations for them as far as, you know, how they're going to conduct their business. They're not, you know, there's not anything that says they can't have cheerleaders. That'll be up to the host site, and in some cases, the traveling teams, you know, might choose not to send their cheerleaders or whatever. That's going to, again, be up to them. Really nothing for the official to be concerned about there. Some of the general preparations, again, probably things that you might want to be aware of might be, you know, do they have hand sanitizer at the scorer's table? We encourage strongly to have the coaches before every single match. Both wrestlers should sanitize their hands, whether that's at the head table or whether that's at the coming from the coach before they go to the scorer's table to report in. But you know, that's where a lot of this starts. Is, you know, we're going to shake hands, we're going to put our hands right on top of each other. And if they're at least clean and sanitized before we step out there, that would be beneficial to help at least a little bit with the spread of the virus. Again, we did ask, plan and communicate with officials on the preparation of weigh-in procedures and protocols. One of the things that we've talked about with the schools is they have the ability to weigh in by team versus by weight class. And so as an official who might be helping conduct the weigh-ins, you might need to be aware that we're going to weigh in by team. So we might just have, Team A on scale 1 and Team B on scale 2 and Team C on scale 3. Or we might have, 2 scales for 4 teams, or however that might work out. But they might weigh in by team instead of by weight class. So just be aware of that. Obviously, you're not necessarily in charge of the weigh-ins, but you might be there to make a ruling on something, and certainly that's beneficial there. But just be aware of that. And another thing that we just suggested was that they might use, more than one set of ankle bands and take the ankle bands back to the table, so that maybe they can be sprayed down or wiped down, and a clean set coming onto the mat with the new wrestlers. Again, for you as an official, you might just want to be aware of how they're going to do that, so that you can, instruct the kid. Yeah, take that back with you to the scorer's table. Again, all of these things they're not all inclusive. We know we can't come up with every single answer or every single suggestion, but as much as we can, we're trying to get this stuff out there so that people have, an opportunity to try some things and hopefully make it at least a little bit safer. Communicating is going to be key. Don't be afraid as an official to initiate that communication, whether it be a phone call or an email, to if it's a coach that really runs their own program type of thing, or if it's an athletic director that you're dealing with, just to kind of verify things that you might have questions about. And then for you as an official, stay vigilant about your own health. It's going to be tough, because if you're sick and you can't officiate, it's not like we have an abundance of people sitting out there just waiting to take your place, and you might not know until the morning of, So if you have assigners, if you have people that work with you, try to, or associate, the associations around do a really good job of, having meetings and that sort of thing. So talk about this and try to come up with maybe a kind of a plan or a way that you can, what can we do if I'm out, if I have to be out, and gosh darn it, I know my assigner is doing a meet as well. Is there somebody that can be on standby? Can we have a list of names of people who are working that night, so that we know who's not working that night? I mean, we just might have to try to ramp up that. And for those of you that are assigners, if you need help from me, if there's some suggestions you can make, I can get you lists of names, lists, communication information, contact information for those people, for whoever really. Let me know, and I'll try to do my best. Sometimes I shoot out mass emails, and we can get things covered if we have a little bit of heads up. So I think some of that is just increasing the communication that's out there. This is the website that we have all this information at, and this video and the Q&As also will appear there. So I'm going to get into I saw a lot of question and answers popping up. It looks like there's 44 chats. So I'm not going to the chats, but I am going to the Q&A.
Hey, Louis, this is Chad. I directed the guys to go to the Q&A if they have questions for you, and they're just doing a little chat on the side amongst themselves, but the Q&A is where the questions are.
Okay. Are the wrestlers going to shake hands at the end of the match? The answer to that is yes. Ref indicates winner by showing winning color. Okay, will there be a weight allowance for the wrestlers since they are wearing uniforms to weigh in? No weight allowance. And that's in the new rule as well. When the match is over, we're not to raise the wrestler's arm, correct? It is not a choice of ours. I would say yes, that's correct, Brent. We're going to try to all do the same thing. Correct? I'm going to say don't raise their hand. Now, when we get to the, we might get to a situation where we're at the end of a season and we're in the state championship match, and maybe we decide to do that differently at that moment. We'll talk about that at that time. That's not going to affect a whole lot of people. Could we raise hands for winning wrestlers if we go and immediately wipe off with sanitizer? Travis Pike's question. Brent Schumacher says Travis Pike's question. Boy. Travis making things difficult as usual. Yeah, I'm not going to be out there watching you. I'm going to tell you, indicate it with your wristband. That's what I'm telling you to do. Will this count as our clinic? No. This is just an informational COVID-19 situation. Would it be possible to request schools to place small tape marks 6 feet apart on the gym floor in front of the scoring table for conferences? Yes, that would be possible. Not mandated, but you could recommend it. Another option, I said, one of the things that we talked about was the pre-meet coin flip. And I said, to the coaches, just the coach and one captain. That's kind of what we're doing in football. It's working out fine. You can do the coin flip out on the center circle. It's 10 feet wide. Put one coach and a captain on one side, the other coach and captain on the other. You stay back on your side, give them the directions, flip the coin, send them on their way, and we should be fine. Okay, Josh, for those who have been working, is a face shield better than a mask? I'm going to dismiss that. That might be in the chat. I wouldn't know how to answer that right now anyway. Does the IHSA consider shutting down the season or blocks of weeks? It says at this point. At this point, the answer is no. Unless directed by the DE or Department of Public Health. I'm just going to say et cetera, because there could be multiple places that could tell us. It could be the governor of Iowa that says you're done. That'd be out of our hands. How about when a wrestler checks in, they squirt a squirt of hand sanitizer before they come out to wrestle? Yes, good idea. I'm not going to answer that here, but yes, Mike, that's a good idea. Are you sharing these slides? This will be posted on our website. Pike coming in for a third time, just creating problems. College wants officials to sanitize hands after each match. What do you think? Again, Bob, I would say on that one, I would say good idea. If you want to. We have timeouts in football for hand sanitizing. Whether or not it takes place, I don't know, but as an official, if you go out there and you have a hand sanitizer in your pocket and you can put it on, I would do it as much as possible. Should we stop the match at an appropriate point or at a stoppage if we see spit or snot or whatever on the mat to clean? I would say yes, but I'm going to say no different than any other time if it needs cleaned up. Can you post that website again, please? I think it says this. Let me see if I can get to my. Let me do this here. There we go. Towel tappers, use voice rather than getting close to the official. I'd say good idea. Be sure they are loud. Are we suggesting or encouraging temperatures to be taken when teams arrive? That is each school's decision for their own kids. So if a school says that's what we're doing, then they can do it for their kids. If they do it at a site and they have already told the other school we're going to take temperatures, then I told those schools, if you don't want that to happen, then don't go to the meet. If they're saying it's that's what we're doing, mandatory that we're doing it, then you either get out of the meet or you do it. And again, I would say for officials, that's not up to you to decide. It's not up to you to get involved in. It's not a rule. It is for the schools to figure out and the meet administration to handle. So if somebody comes to you complaining about it, you can say, talk to the athletic director or talk to the tournament director. It's not the official's job to handle that. Will the cheerleaders still be positioned on the mat, or will they have their own section or distancing purposes? Again, host site will try to assist in this. be same, could be further back, could be smaller squads, be no cheerleaders. Those are all options that they have to consider. Okay. I'm going to kind of peek my head in the chat room here and see if a lot of talk about the shields maybe being favorable to a mask. Chad, I'll check with you and see if there's a way for us to do anything with this chat as well, so that maybe I can go in and if I need to revise any of it or edit any of it, and then we can post it as well. I don't know how that works, if that'll work or not. Q&As, any changes to the state tournament format? The answer to that is not yet, but I will say, but very likely. I don't know what that's like yet, and it's all going to be dependent on, you know, what happens in the coming couple of months. We are holding out for as long as we can before we have to make any absolute decisions on the state tournament. You know, and we'll see. In terms of temperatures, if a school requests that they take our temperature, we should comply, correct? I would say if you want to work the meet, yes. Anytime I go in and anytime my wife takes me to the gym and makes me work out, I have to take my temperature, whether I like to or not. If I don't get to go in. So that's the rule of the facility. So I would say follow the rule of the facility that's hosting the event. But again, you can ask those questions before you ever get there. So if it's something that you feel strongly about and you don't want to do it, and they say, well, that we're going to require it, then you can say, well, I'm going to work on finding somebody else to work the meet for me or whatever. Would the association be providing any sort of shield or mask? No, we will not be providing anything. Again, I think it's just a thing that you've got to decide if you want to use one or not. When using a whistle, isn't there quite a bit of spit vapor come out of the whistle when blown? I would say yep, and I don't know how to change that. I don't know if there's a good answer to that other than it's part of it, I guess. I don't know. Bob, it's a good question. I'm not dismissing it by any means, but it is a reality either way. We don't get much for communication for less than varsity wrestling. True. Did you recommend this increase this community? Good point. And I will include that suggestion to the ADs for the sub-varsity stuff. If we test positive for COVID, do we need to provide proof of a negative test to be allowed to officiate again, or how do we prove that we are no longer contagious? I believe the answer to that is the county Department of Public Health. We don't collect anything. We haven't been collecting anything this entire fall, and we've had officials who have had to be out and come back. But it's going to be up to the Department of Public Health within your county. It's got to get reported to them, and then I think they end up telling you follow their guidance on that, Matthew. A mask that Fox 40 makes that covers the whistle and has ample room for your whistle. I've heard of that, haven't seen it. I think college football, NCAA might have bought thousands of them for college football officials to be required to wear. If you wear a gaiter instead of a mask, you can put your whistle under your gaiter and still blow it and be heard, and the gaiter catches the spit. That's what I did for football. Good suggestion. Thanks, Jeff. Okay. I've hit the questions in the Q&A. This will get posted on our website. We will also include the Q&A in a document. I'll look over the chat and see if there's some things that I can pull from the chat that I want to include in there as well. And that'll be available fairly soon. Looks like right now we have 107 participants that are on, so that means there's probably 250 to 300 that aren't on here. So spread the word. Tom has a question. I'm assuming the gaiter and mask needs to be logo free. And I told the coaches, treat it like a headgear. Okay, so treat it like a headgear. If a wrestler tests positive after a tournament duel, how will participants and officials be notified? Good question. Bob, I might have to find out that answer. Because I honestly don't know the answer how that is going to be shared. I don't know the answer to that. So we'll try to get that. I'll try to get that back to you. I mean, it's happening right now. We've got, we have football teams that have had positive cases. I don't know the answer to that, but I will find out. Torvik says, go to Amazon and order face shields cheap. Get the ones that have a nose piece and temples like regular glasses. Approximately $10 for a box of 6. Each one will last you multiple meets and tournaments. Okay, I'll include that. Can the wrestlers wear a mask, and what happens if it comes off during the match? Yes, they can. Mask is treated like headgear. Stop it when no action or out of bounds, and put it back on. No penalties. So you're not going to get penalties for your mask coming off. And I will put on here as well, it's special equipment, which means it's got to be non-abrasive, not hard, fits snugly. So I told the coaches, them wearing a gaiter that just dangles down, probably not going to work. But I have one. I have a gaiter that's pretty tight fitting. Not unlike what a singlet would fit like. It's a spandex gaiter, and it's not real big, and it fits tight. So that would be fine. The mask that goes around their ears and they put their headgear on, if they choose to do that, we're not going to stop that from happening. And we're just going to have to deal with it. We had the hair, the hair thing last year, and we thought it was going to be the end of the world, that their rubber bands were going to fall out, and it was just fine. And then the rule went away this year. So that's the answer to that one. Must wear it at weigh-ins. I don't know what that means. In other words, Mark, I think maybe what you're saying is, if they're wearing it on the mat, do they have to wear it at weigh-ins? I would say no to that. They don't have to wear it at weigh-ins. Gaiters and face shields are not on the approved mask list from the IDPH. Do we need to make sure that we are wearing something that is on the approved list? I'm going to say no, only because I think something's better than nothing, I guess. If you want to, protect yourself further, or yourself more, and those around you more, and you want to look at a Department of Public Health list of approved items, then I'd say you can, but I wouldn't say that you have to. Do you know if any or how many officials aren't working this year due to COVID? Not sure yet, Derek. We had 337 signed up as of today. Last year had about 400. And usually between now and once the rules meeting and the exam starts on the 26th, we usually pick up, another 10, 15, 20, etc. Okay, I see what you're saying, Mark. Yes, special equipment should be brought to weigh-ins for inspection. That is correct. Okay, I know you're going to all have more questions. I get that. you know how to get a hold of me. I try to be as available as possible. You know, we're going to have questions as the year goes on, probably maybe more than ever. We have our officials clinics coming up. October 27th at 7 p.m. is the first one. October 29th at 8 a.m. is the second one. I'm trying to switch them up a little bit this year since we're doing them virtually. I'm doing, you know, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the evenings. We'll quite frankly probably figure out a way to record one of them and get it on our website for, you know, maybe a period of time on a Sunday afternoon or something, and open it up for people to view it and get credit for it as well. We did that for football with good success. We're trying our hardest to, you know, keep things as forward moving as we can, and still provide some opportunities to learn. And but quite frankly, we've got to be safe too. So we'll do the best we can with all of that. And I told the coaches and the athletic directors what I think of them with regard to their efforts and their choices that they're making. And I would say the same thing to all of you. My hat's off to you for going out and doing this. We do it because we love the sport, probably first and foremost. And secondly, we just like to help people. We like to help kids. We like to help coaches. We like to help communities. You know, it's tough, and this whole winter is going to be tough, and we're not going to have all the answers. We're going to have to try to figure out what some of the answers are going to end up being. And I don't really like being in that position, but it is what it is right now. So do the best you can. Thank you for what you're doing. And I'll hopefully see you down the line somewhere. And then, you know, get in touch with me if you have any further questions. All right. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful evening.
Louis, I was able to save the chat, so you don't need to review it now. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks, Chad, for your help.
We'll go ahead and end the meeting, everybody. Have a good night.